Welcome back, everybody. We're changing the pace here. We thought it was going to be probably all TVZs today, or at least pretty likely. We had two upsets. I mean, Rogue takes out GuMiho, who GuMiho's just been on a tear the last couple weeks. There's no denying that. Maru losing 0-2 to Solar is wild. I mean, Solar, I've always thought of him as, one of the best players in the world, but kind of compared to someone like Maru playing second fiddle, even at times compared to somebody like Rogue playing second fiddle, right? Rogue was, when, he's dominated in Korea, the most scary Zerg, right? But Solar has stuck to the grind. He has continued to improve. He had a very comprehensive, solid ZVT back there against two very different games from Maru. Now we're going to go into the mirror matchup. Now, Solar's been with us this whole time. Rogue has had a hiatus from StarCraft 2. He's come back. Rogue has a lot on the line right now, wants to get that spot for EWC. At periods, Rogue has been the strongest player in the world, multiple-time world champion. But here we are in 2025. Is Solar, in fact, the stronger player? Is he the one deserving of going on into the round of 4?
First place in the round of 12, looking to get a first place here in the round of 8 is Solar. If there's anything we know about him, his ZBZ is incredibly dangerous. Map number 1 is loading up on Persephone. Solar versus Rogue to decide our first player going to the playoffs.
Okay, Solar in the bottom, Rogue in the top. Are we going to have, builds that mirror and we just wait for the deviation? Or are we going to have any kind of a major build asymmetry here? One guy going for a rush and the other going for an expand.
Yeah, Extractor Trick for, I think, Solar?
Yep.
And Rogue just going with a more standard opening, but we'll have to wait and see. Solar, historically in ZVZ, and also recently in ZBZ, has been one of these Zergs that is not afraid to go for the most aggressive builds you will see. he loves to stay on hatchery tech. He loves to go for early pushes. Oh, what's up from San Francisco?
Oh, excellent.
Welcome, welcome.
We've got a Canada side hiding in the back.
Yeah, I see that. But I'm wondering what kind of brand of ZBZ Solar is going to bring today here against Rogue.
So right now we've got the mirrored, openings here. Nobody's really deviated. And so that's going to bring us to the next layer of ZVZ where, they presumably will both go to 3 bases. If they lock into 2, that would be interesting as well. But if they get to third bases, does one player go for the Ling aggression, Banelings maybe, or Roaches, while the other player tries to play a more honorable game, macroing up, trying to defend and tech into something.
Yeah, looking at the legacy of the Void Match history there in the bottom right of the screen, maybe I shouldn't be surprised because he is one of the greatest players of all time. But a Rogue with a little bit of an edge here over Solar. Now, Solar, over the past few years, has had these moments where it looks like he is just the undisputed best ZBZ player in the world. That was, I think, 2 years ago was when he hit one of these peaks where it felt like even Cyril couldn't stop him. Solar was winning, I think, multiple series versus Cyril and basically everybody else. There was like a 3-month stretch where he was on a 90% plus win streak against other pros in the mirror matchup ZBZ. Now, I feel like he is still one of the best ZBZ players in the world. I'm not sure if he's quite in the form that he was back then, but having seen a lot of his games recently, it seems like he's going back to his tricks. He's doing a lot more aggressive plays. He's sticking on hatch tech very often. He's not afraid to go gas pool hatchery should the situation call for it. But here we have in map number 1 against Rogue, really showing a lot of respect, playing a very standard setup. Both players taking the third hatchery, throwing down the Baneling Nest at basically mirror times.
Yeah, and the Baneling Nest doesn't inherently mean aggression. It's sort of a fail-safe if they start to attack you. I mean, it can mean aggression too, but it doesn't have to, is what I'm saying. You could make 1 or 2 Banelings just to play defensively and not get overwhelmed by Lings. And both sides are making a considerable amount of drones. There is slightly more Lings being made for Solar, but that could be stylistic. Some players will play within a range of Lings. They'll feel like, oh, 8 is safer than 6, where the other player might go for the extra drone here. So we're waiting to see if either side will ramp up the aggression, or even if both sides ramp that up. 6 Lings are now being produced here for Solar. Or sorry, for Rogue.
Yeah, just catching up to the Ling count of his opponent. He has a little bit of his scouting coming in. 5 more workers also being queued up here for both players. So it seems like nobody really has their eyes set on ramping up the aggression just yet. Instead, they're testing the waters, trying to pick off any drones at the third base if they can, but of course not saturated yet is that third for Rogue. Now, both players also, I believe, going for the Roach Warrens. I think Rogue's might have already finished up, and no, he's actually just now starting it. So a really fast +1 range weapon coming in for Rogue, even before the Roach Warren is constructed.
Yeah, so getting that missile upgrade. Pretty quiet ZVZ here. We basically had some Lings glide through and try to glean some information here. Roach Warren's done. 10 more Lings are going to be hatching here for Solar. Who, by the way, his Evo chamber is finishing a bit later. So let's say that we have both players go for the missile upgrades here. We haven't seen what's... yeah, okay, so he's going to go for the missile upgrade here. His is going to be just a little bit later, which means he's either going to be even with his opponent in periods of the game or behind. There's no alternative angle he's coming at the game from where he's going to be ahead. Doesn't mean he's going to lose necessarily, but let's say that +1 missile attack finishes and Rogue's timing is real sharp. He could have a kind of battering ram of an attack that could just break open the entrance.
Yeah, it could be 20, 25 seconds. Oh, nice micro with that Queen, pulling it back into the wall. And actually, Solar, I thought for a moment he might be eyeing those drones with the aggression, but instead just going to pull back. Does not want to lose these Lings. I think he recognizes the threat of Rogue going for a timing attack. Of course, Rogue with that faster +1 is going to have a window where he can move across the map should he want to, and it seems like that is where this is going, Tasteless. 7 Roaches in production, workers cut at 44. They're getting hidden here at the natural expansion of Rogue. Meanwhile, Solar, he's still droning. He's adding in 2 more gases. He's going up to Lair. This is Rogue really gunning for a 3-base hatchery tech timing, trying to kill the opponent. I feel like once these 8 Roaches pop, it's about time to go. Unfortunately, he's not moving at a timing where +1 is going to be at an advantage. It seems like Solar's probably going to be able to equalize before this moves across the map. But Rogue is going to have so much. He's even sent probes from the natural expansion to this third base to make to make it look fully saturated against his opponent.
That's so smart, man.
Only now is Solar realizing the Congo line of Roaches that is coming across the map. But Solar, it's only 12 more drones. Yes, you did go for a lair, but it is possible to hold this.
Yeah, the spine crawlers are going to start. It's 2 of the third base and then 1 tucked behind the Baneling nest here. And a lot more Bane. So he's trying to have some kind of explosive damage to soften the whole overall wave of units that's about to come in here. We have Ravagers being made 1 by 1 here. That's going to be really important, especially to try to peg down those spine crawlers in the back.
Yeah, now the attack commencing. Rogue with a really nice arc here on the high ground. Also the Vials raining down as Solar gets congested here at the third base ramp. But as he retreats into the natural expansion, the Concave starts to favor the blue Zerg player. And so Rogue is going to regroup, morph in a couple more Ravagers with these injured Roaches. And now he guns for the natural expansion. He's going to take down the Spine Crawler and then retreat back. He's trying to bait Solar into an overextension. And now finally, it's time to pounce. Moving into the natural. The Vials again zoning out the Roaches and the Queens on that third base side. Really good arc right now for Rogue. He's able to actually surround this army coming in from the third base. As Solar's even going to pull the drones in from the natural expansion. They're trying to absorb the impact. Even the Spine Crawlers joining the fray here, coming in from the third. But Rogue, I think he has just a little bit too much Tasteless.
Yeah, he's able to basically avoid the Spine Crawlers as they plant. He just shuffles to the side. And, I mean, he's able to kill off... There it is. GG. Rogue, easy peasy with a timing attack. Takes Solar out. I love the decisiveness, to dive on the Spine Crawler. And then he, the 2 spines that are made at the third base, they're irrelevant. They're paperweights as far as we're concerned here. So then he runs those up, and then he just moves out of the way again. Just continues to deal that damage, gets some Ravagers. Once you have the Ravagers, you can just corrosive bile down a spine at a distance. But, yeah, Solar wasn't quite ready. And that all happened when they were even on the attack upgrades. It wasn't one where he hit, the millisecond the +1 missile attack finished. But, Rogue historically has beaten Solar a lot in a lot of very important matches in Korea, overseas. And it seems like right now history is repeating itself. TVZ, the meta has shifted quite a bit. We have a lot of new ideas that I think both you and I State are still kind of exploring and trying to wrap our heads around. But that was a ZVZ I have seen many times before.
All right, Rogue, one map win away from his seed into the round of 4 here in the GSL Code S. Will Solar fight back, or will Rogue be the first player to advance to the playoffs?
Solar here in the bottom right, Rogue in the top left. And, you know, Rogue with just a really well-organized and executed build order with a really good attack. And I think Solar had some great ideas. I think probably a second spine crawler would have been, or I guess maybe what I mean is a fourth spine crawler, a second spine crawler at the natural, you know. A little bit more to try to hold that off. I didn't really get to see how well the kind of insta-banelings that he morphed, you know, how much that helped or not, but obviously you want to try to have those hit at a good angle. But, you know, I think a lot of times we imagine, you know, Marines sniping down Banes, and that's so important to stop them from connecting. But, you know, if Roaches get the shots off before the Banes really get in there, the Banes have done way less damage than they were supposed to.
And I will say it's rare to see Solar the one defending in a ZBZ.
Yeah, no, he's, I think, more inclined to be aggressive than a lot of the other Zergs that we have here. But that was a game where they both went for the same techs, and, you know, I think the way that Rogue attacked in there. And, you know, also just when you get to the natural, depending on how they set up their SimCity, a lot of times there is important tech there. Like, taking out the Baneling's Nest, not that the Baneling's Nest is, like, really the most important tech to stop Roach Ravager, like, it's something. You know what I mean? Creating a bigger opening there, taking out the Evo chamber, like, you know, as the initial attack hit in, it's like, man, you've lost a lot of tech here.
That was some very nice micro there from Rogue. Just the way that he was maneuvering between the natural expansion and the third base, just constantly trying to force Solar, who has this really difficult job of trying to juggle these two armies to get the perfect engagement that he needs to be able to survive the push. Rogue just continuously parrying those moves. You know, Solar comes in from the third base, and then Rogue, he retreats out of the natural expansion. He gets a concave on the third. Solar has to pull back, and then Rogue once again moves into the natural expansion. He kills a spine crawler. He goes for some tech. He kills some drones. That was just really well played by Rogue there positionally. It's one of the reasons why when he goes for a timing attack like that, it is so deadly, because a lesser Zerg might just pump it, no breaks, full aggression right into the natural expansion, and that is the way that you could lose a push like that, even having a numbers advantage. Is if Solar was able to get the perfect surround with the drone pull there at the natural, then maybe he's able to hold on. You know, he does have a 12 drone lead over the opponent. There are some workers to spare, but Rogue is just so clean with the unit control and those kind of pushes.
So we have 8 more drones being produced right now for Solar. The Evo chamber has started here for Rogue, and it seems like, you know, I don't want to read too much into this, but it does seem like one guy's always getting the Evo chamber a little bit earlier than the other. In this case, it's Rogue always just slightly ahead, which again, if you're both going for missile attacks, that does make a difference here.
This time we have a 2-hatch player coming in for Solar.
Interesting. So Solar wants to do some kind of mute attack here.
Yeah, I'm thinking the same thing. Roach Warren and +1. Ranged attack getting researched here by Solar on the front lines. Rogue actually going for Carapace.
Interesting. And he's going to wall here.
I wonder if he's identified that this might be a 2-hatch play going into Mutalisks, because Carapace, just the way that armor is able to negate some of the glaive damage on Mutas is very advantageous here.
Yeah, it makes a big difference because those glaives bounce. So when you have the armor, it's like every single glaive did a little bit less damage.
Ooh, but Roach is queued up here for Solar. I wonder how many, because, you know, he is feeding Rogue information as Roach speed gets started up. This could be two-hatch Roaches. There's no Spire just yet, Tasteless.
Yeah, maybe I had a bad read on that.
I think it's kind of designed. It might be designed to force that read, right? Because 2-hatch Muta has been getting considerably more popular.
It's designed to make our cast bad.
So
We're the real losers
this
here.
one's to stop stateless.
Yeah. This one's to make a fool out of him, and then I win in game 3.
They cancel range attack and roach speed right before it's done and threat on Inspire and just make us look like fools.
Okay, he's getting some Ravagers here.
Yeah, and he's going into the 3rd hatchery. This is a really interesting approach.
There are games where you like put the tech a little bit, you kind of front load the tech a little bit and then get the 3rd hatch later, but there's no way that hatchery is going to finish. And, I mean, Rogue is coming in here swinging.
Yeah, 35 drones. Very little eco here for Rogue, but Solar is 2-hatch. Roach is with +1 about to finish, with Roach speed about to be done. He's actually already building a safety Roach for it because he assumes the one in the natural expansion is going to die. That's a very smart move.
Well, the missile attack is going to finish, and he could basically stay back. He can kind of keep his distance here. Gosh, it would be huge if he could get that upgrade, but it looks like he just doesn't quite have the time. And remember, when you wall in like this, there are these disadvantages to it because the Roaches don't have the great range, so you can kind of stay back here and pick off the wall in itself, which, he's obviously going to do here. He's just not even going to engage with those Broodlings. Now he's going to go for the Evo Chamber. And again, it's 3 base to 2.
It is, but with only 35 drones, I feel like Rogue has to get a little bit more done right here. He's only just now starting his lair. I think because he's identifying, it's going to be very hard to kill Solar. Lings coming in. Is he going for the surround? He's actually going to commit. With the surround, he's able to bile, but nice stutter stepping backwards there by Solar. It's going to negate a lot of the bile damage. The Lings are getting cleaned up very quickly by these +1 Roaches. Now with speed, it's going to make it really difficult for Rogue to be able to retreat. One of those Ravagers do get taken out, and more Roaches in production now for Solar. Keep in mind, he does have that 2nd Roach War, and so the production, it was just a hiccup in terms of Roaches getting slowed down. I think he had a little bit more than Rogue was perhaps anticipating because of that.
Yeah, so this could be confusing to someone who's not paying close enough attention here because you see more bases on the map, right? So in a lot of people's minds, that's like, oh, he has more resources coming in. But in fact, Rogue was behind on workers. So he had like more map presence and had the opportunity to make more workers, but he didn't. He went for a timing attack versus Solar, who actually had more drones but was taking it less advantage of the map. And by the way, he's taking his 3rd base pretty late. And basically, Solar braced for impact, dealt with the damage, and kind of pushed him back off, and is now expanding.
And Solar is continuously pumping these Roaches and Ravagers with +2 research underway.
But yet, Rogue's going to have his upgrade first. His 2nd upgrade first. He's going to have that missile attack upgrade.
He might, but I feel like with the numbers advantage for Solar right now, the fact they're both sitting on about 40 workers, Solar just has way more.
Right.
You can actually see Rogue, he's trying to fish for some more Overlords because he's identifying that he needs something to slow down the macro, I think, here of Solar, and supply blocking your opponent's a good way to do it. In fact, these Lings are going to be going for a counterattack here at this 3rd base. Solar does not have the drones to saturate this as the Lings are going to come in. They will get a surround on this hatchery.
Now, here's the thing. I mean, counterattacks are a lot of times the way to do it when they have a bigger army than you. And that's exactly what he's going to do. He takes that out. Now, I love the almost body block Lings. That was not without its own sacrifice, of course. Like, he had to use a decent amount of Lings to even take that out. Now there's not as easy of a target. So I think we're going to see northbound movement from Solar, but the Lings are going to come around again. Can he actually get this hatchery again? Let's see if the Observer catches it.
Oh, man, Solar made some drones to try and catch, or not to catch, to saturate that 3rd base once he gets set up, so.
Yeah.
That investment not really paying off right now, is Rogue is still sitting on 42 workers, and Tasteless, he's gone a long way towards equalizing these army supplies. Solar a moment ago had a massive lead, but now it's 103 to 96. Rogue is going to have that upgrade advantage, as you said, with +2 missile attacks about to finish here for Solar. Plus, Tunneling Claws and Burrow also being researched, so a lot of micro potential. There is no Overseer with this army here for Rogue, so once Burrow is done, Solar does have a lot of opportunity here to micro as the Link's going to go for a surround here on the backside as the Ravagers and Roaches are stutter stepping forward here from Rogue. Some really nice micro focusing down the Ravagers of his opponent, but Solar just a little bit too much.
I mean, Solar, that was an interesting game because the early part of it was kind of complicated and weird. You know, it's like, I think Rogue felt compelled to come in there and try to end the game before it started, and basically Solar just stayed back and kind of, it's almost like catching a pitch. You know what I mean? He just caught the ball, you're out. Yeah, I mean, Rogue, I think he played more of a kind of macro development game and just identified, yeah, there's no Spire tech coming. There's no need to rush into this. Or I guess in his head, he thought maybe there's like an Overlord somewhere on the map, but a Spire started there. Or, you know, he felt like he had to come in here and try to end the game. It wasn't going to be Roach versus Roach, but actually Solar just had more drones, had one less hatch, and had the muscle to kind of fight that off, and then just basically be too strong on the map. So we're going to go to Ley Lines here for map number 3, everybody. So far, it looks like it could be anybody's game. Both Solar and Rogue making each other work. Remember, a lot on the line right now for Rogue. He wants to get that EWC spot. And it looks like our game's going to be loading up right now. Solar versus Rogue, game 3, to see who goes on to the round of 4. Okay, Solar down here in the bottom, Rogue in the top.
Ooh, 13 gas, 12 pool for Rogue.
So I was gonna say no rushes yet, but as I was about to say it, he throws the structures down. Now we got to look at Solar, and he gets. Will he get the hatchery first? Is it going to be hatchery, gas pool? I mean, this is. Obviously going to be extremely painful if he's not able to hold this off. Excuse me.
Yeah, hatch first coming in now for Solar. Man, Rogue has been so aggressive in this series. We said it earlier, but it is rare to see Solar the one who is defensive in his EVZ. You know, his bread and butter, one of the reasons why he has had so much success in this matchup in the past is his unpredictability, especially in terms of the aggression, because oftentimes against Solar, you know that he's going to be the one to, you know, take the initiative and attack first, but you don't know exactly what kind of attack it is going to be with him. Whereas Rogue is just kind of playing that right back into him. Solar, both game 1, game 2, had to deflect very early aggression. In game 1, he wasn't able to stop the hatch tech all in. In game 2, he was able to deflect. I think it was, what, 42 drone Roach Ravager there after the initial push failed for Rogue. And now here in game number 3, really fast Ling speed coming in, and you can see the way that Rogue is maneuvering these Lings on the map is not to get the fastest route to the opponent. Oh man, we have an evolution chamber coming in for Solar. Is he gonna try and get an upgrade before speed? This is pretty greedy.
This is definitely not a build where the Evo chamber is gonna help you. So yeah, he's basically hitting this perfectly. And what he's waiting for is the next Lings when they hatch. This is gonna be like this blind sighting attack. Right?
22 drones right now. Solar is being so greedy. The Lings are even parked in the top left corner of this map.
Yeah, and so the idea is he's like, look, I'm skying with my first 2 Lings. And then in reality, there's way more Lings that are going to be down here. And so there's going to be 2 parts of this. There's going to be the Lings that actually hit him in the face, and then the ones that he sees running out. And it's all going to be an overwhelming amount. There's still drones hatching. You know, the Queen doesn't have enough surface area to work with to like plug up an entrance. So he's going to show 3 here. 3 might be suspicious. Here we go.
All right, Ling speed is done. No Lings on the field. The first Queen immediately gets surrounded there by a Rogue. Drone's getting pulled to the natural expansion. Solar has been so greedy up until this point. You see him on the production tab. He cancels +1 melee attack. He starts up the Bailing nest, but it might be a little bit too late. Only 10 drones for Rogue. So much on the line right now. The winner of this map is going to the round of 4 here in GSL as more Lings get queued. And now it's all about the defense. Spinecrawler gets started. The drones are going to have to be pulled here to defend. He's trying to body block. They're able to get us around right now. The drones are really mitigating the surface area on those Lings. The Queens, both of them somehow staying alive. The top one is so low, but the drones, they're guarding the Queen. The pathing is so good right now for Solar. Is he doing it, Tasteless? His drone micro is insane.
You got a Ling around to the back.
Oh my goodness, once again, the drones, they mineral walk through. Finally, that Queen is going to fall. 20 drones right now to 10 as Rogue starts up worker production back at home. This was a build that was designed to kill Solar, but Solar with some incredible micro with those drones, mineral walking them, removing the pathing requirement, and then body blocking those Lings. I mean, that's a miracle defense. And now he has a fully saturated main base. Bailing Nest is done. Speed is done. Rogue still has more Lings. He has the second hatchery.
Yeah, he's got the production advantage with the hatchery, but he doesn't have the income advantage.
Yeah.
Now, these games can be a little messy from this point on. I mean, I got to say that the Queen was the MVP of that game. Like, ghosting through the drones at the perfect moment. Just, you know, even, like, taking enough damage, but then not dying so that the drones didn't take the bulk of the damage. Like, it was pretty perfect. Now, the problem is the Banelings just hard counter Lings. And so you can try to run around, but if a Queen's at the ramp and there's, you know, stuff blocking, you're just not going to get anywhere. The armor upgrade starts from the Evolution Chamber. No doubt that probably had a different role as far as upgrades go in a normal game, but he's going to use it this way now. So he kind of runs in, he runs back out. Meanwhile, you know, it's just going to be more production here. Solar has to kind of force his way down the ramp, control this area, and defend. I do like the one hidden Ling here to scout, but it gets spotted.
Yeah, nice move there by Solar. He's going to get taken out. Now, Rogue, with that second expansion, he is able to quickly surpass Solar and Workers. I think after the dust settled from that build, despite Solar with a miraculous hold, I still like Rogue's position a little bit more. It got so much damage done, taking out the Queens, killing the natural expansion, getting a good number of drones as well. But we're moving now into a game where, you know, Rogue and Solar's basically stabilized. He's still got the Spine Crawler. He's going to have an upgrade advantage. He's going for the third base, trying to take some of the tempo back away from a Rogue who has been powering up 5 more drones in production for the Red Zerg. And Rogue's actually going up to Lair Tech behind all of this. 2 more gases being taken. This could very well be Muta's. We haven't seen it yet in this series. But I'm wondering if he's just going to lean really heavy into Roaches again, the same way that we saw him do in Game 1 and Game 2.
Yeah, let's see. I mean, I feel like this could, I mean, he's gotten the other 2 gases. This feels a lot more like Muta's.
Oh, Roach is getting started. There isn't a lot of gas banked. It might just be Roaches again.
Yeah, no, it totally could be.
Oh, the Ling's actually getting in. Surround on the Queen. There's going to be a transfuse, and now Solar with basically a full scout off. He's going to see the lair finishing, and he's going to be hunting to see if there's any hidden tech. Seeing no 4th gas, I actually thought the Rogue was going up to 4 gases during all of this, but it's gas number 2 and 3 taken, so certainly going to be Roaches and not those Mutas. I think he'll be able to get a Queen.
He's going to get the Queen here?
I think he was expecting the Lynx to die, but because +1 Carapace is done, the Queen does basically no damage. Those Lynx actually getting, what, 3 drones? That is so much value here for Solar.
That was pretty wild.
I think Rogue just was not anticipating the Queen.
I think it's one of those things like you see an interaction, you're like, okay, yeah, I know I win that, and then you leave and you don't appreciate that an upgrade finished. You come back and suddenly your Queen's dead and drones are being killed.
Yeah, +1 Carapace finishing just at that time just really throws off the map for Rogue. And Solar got the full scout off too. And somehow, after 7 minutes, with Rogue going for basically an all-in on 10 drones, we have dead even supply, dead even workers at 745.
Crazy game. Don't forget this is all off the back of a wild all-in that somehow Solar survived. And Solar, you know, tempo-wise, he's looking pretty healthy. He's just kind of continuing to expand out on the map. And this is a great game that kind of exemplifies the dangers of super aggro stuff and the penalties you face when it doesn't work, right? Is you're playing a real uphill game. It's why a lot of ladder will just be cheese into it didn't work into I'm going to leave the game. You know what I mean? Someone's being a degenerate, just trying to force out as many wins as possible in a day, but not trying to play the second part of the game, which, you know, a lot of times post-cheese games are some of the most interesting, funnest games to play. You know, when it doesn't work and you're like, I got to figure this out from here.
All right, third base getting taken now for Rogue, about halfway done. He's actually started a second Evolution Chamber upgrade too. So going for +2 missile attack and +1 Carapace, going to try and equalize with the Solar, who already has 1-1 because he opened with an Evolution Chamber. Solar already happily saturating these 3 bases. 5 more drones in production. Rogue, both in Game 1 and Game 2, stopped around, I want to say like 40-something drones and made nothing but Roach Ravager and just full send. In this game, game number 3, he's already eclipsed that worker count, getting ready to push 60, which is basically full 3-base saturation for him. I'm wondering if somehow, off the back of that, insane early aggression from Rogue. We might have the most macro-oriented ZBZ of the day between these two guys. It's starting to look that way, Tasteless.
Yeah, I mean, this is feeling a lot like we're going to be into a crazy late game situation, right? Both sides trying to expand out on the map, trying to snipe each other at the corners of the map where they're at. Once again, Solar just sort of tempo-wise ahead. He's getting that base at 6 o'clock. The upgrades are looking extremely good, but I will also say that Rogue's been doing a really good job playing catch-up.
Yeah, it's very even. And Rogue actually getting, I think, Overlord speed. He's making a Dropper Overlord and Tunneling Claws, so he's going to try some shenanigans with Roaches across the map.
Yeah, I think he wants to basically drop Roaches inside the main or inside the natural and burrow them and then try to hit in other places. And, you know, burrow's really hard to deal with if you haven't already preempted it, if you're not like just ready to kind of like get detectors and punish it, you can lose control of the game pretty quickly. And then they'll just find the weaker part of your position on the map and then hit that with everything that's not harassing. So this is, I mean, he's just going to beeline right into the main here with this. He's got this Overseer here just a scout. He wants to make sure, like, okay, there's no, like, detection here, right? Okay, then this is going to be a prime spot for me to hit.
And Solar also going for the Dropper Overlord right now.
Yeah.
It's a very similar ideas at play for both these players as Solar setting up this expansion. Rogue also going for that expansion at the 12 o'clock position. The Overlord now working its way towards the main base as Solar, you can see him lifting up his own Overlord. Going to be sending that towards the 12 o'clock base. And for now, Rogue is just biding his time with that drop between the junction of the main, the third, and the fourth. Now finally sending it to the main. There is no Spore Crawler, no detection here for Solar. Tunneling Claw is already done here for Rogue in addition to Burrow, so there's a lot of harassment potential. I think, yeah, Solar just immediately recognizes what this is. He sees the Tunneling Claws on those Roaches. He builds the Spore Crawler, getting the detection that he needs.
Wait, what happened back there? That was weird.
Yeah, that was the Roach drop from Solar.
Okay,
Got 6 drones. Meanwhile, Rogue, he has Roaches in the natural expansion of Solar as well, and he's trying to pull them apart while attacking this fourth base.
He can actually hit this without the Spine Crawler even defending. Like, he can basically stay away as long as he shimmies correctly.
This concave for Rogue is so good. It's actually really hard for Solar to get a good trade right there coming into this one. So many Roaches also back on the line, trying to defend the natural expansion as Solar stutter stepping forward. This is a nice move, able to take down so many of these Ravagers.
I think it might be an overextension, actually.
I mean, it was a favorable trade, and now the reinforcements are coming in from the natural expansion.
Oh my god, this hatchery has like one Roach shot from just killing it.
Oh, more drones going down in the main base there of Rogue, too. I feel like Rogue has just enough here on the front line to push and take down this fourth base. Concave is in his favor. More Roaches in production right now for Solar, but right now momentum is on Rogue's side. That hatchery is going to fall. Workers almost dead even right now.
I mean, this is looking beautiful here for Rogue, but Solar has done his own damage on the other side of the map. The problem is this third base is a lot more squishy. You know, no Queens to help defend over here, no Spine Crawlers either. Roach is continuing to reinforce. He's beginning to get a really nice angle over here. The one Queen comes up with a transfuse, but that's not going to do that much.
Rogue with just a little bit too much momentum. GG, and Rogue is going to the round of 4 in first place.
What year is it, man? Rogue ends up winning the group. A group with so many strong players that, you know, frankly are just kind of a lot more modern in their play style. He did it. He's the first player to survive this. He's going on into the round of 4. Who knows? He could win this year.
Takes down a GuMiho who has been on fire so far in GSL, and takes down Solar, one of the best ZBZ players in the world today.
And, you know, in my head, I kind of had moved on from the era where Rogue could be unstoppable, right? That was a feature of the past. That was kind of a pre-pandemic era of StarCraft 2, but he has proven that he is absolutely viable. We're going to go to an interview now and see how he is feeling.
네, 이병렬 선수 전역 이후에 3년 만에 4강 올라갔습니다. 다시 한번 축하의 말씀드립니다.
Well, after you finished your military service, you made finally your first round of 4 in 3 years. So first of all, congratulations, Rogue. Many players here in the round of 8 have already secured their tickets to the EWC. Only you, GuMiho, and Bunny have not secured your tickets here in the round of 8. How are you feeling about your odds? Well, you know, tonight I feel like I did my best. But the rest of the players, we're going to have to see exactly how they play their games.
빌드 준비도 굉장히
And the Korean caster is saying, yeah, again, well, you have a very good chance of making it to the EWC now that you're in the round of 4. And especially today, your builds look so strong today. You were so well prepared for your opponents here in Group A. It was almost as if, it seemed as if you were preparing for a GSL finals. Well, after I completed my military service, I actually increased the amount of time that I spend practicing significantly. You know, starting about a week ago, I actually started to shift my focus in terms of the time I'm spending on practice. Instead of playing practice games, I was shifting my focus instead on preparing builds for my opponents. So every single build that I feature today, I've been thinking about these strategies a lot. Especially up against GuMiho, because he's been playing a lot of mech games recently. I was thinking that these kinds of strategies might work against his style. Well, Rogue, you're going to play the second place finisher of Group B, a group with Hero, Zaun, Bunny, and Clastic. Of those 4 players, who would you like to play, and also what is your prediction? Well, honestly, I feel very weak against Protoss right now, so all 3 of those Protoss players are very scary to me. But I kind of want to play Hero. I'm actually very surprised by that answer. And he does not expect Bunny to make it into the round of 4. It's going to be very difficult for Bunny to prepare against 3 different Protoss players. It's a very stressful situation. I think he's going to basically have to run a gauntlet if he makes it to the playoffs. Honestly, talking about these Protoss players right now, it feels like you're getting a little bit nervous too. And Rogue says, yeah, you know, well, even today I felt like I was very nervous. There's so much on the line that here in Group A, I felt like I was playing in the finals. And last words, Rogue, well, you know, I just want to say thank you to the fans. So many fans showed up here today. I'm not going to drop my guard. I'm going to try and stay strong all the way through the finals and do my best.
All right. What a crazy result here.
Yeah.
Rogue getting out first. In my head, this was like the least likely.
Yeah, me too.
Of the possible players to come out first. So that's really cool, you know, to see Rogue in good form, to see him play ZVZ and ZVT really well.
Yeah, and you could tell that he prepared some really crafty builds for his opponents too. So I like the questions the Korean casters asked him, because it did really feel like he was preparing for the finals. He used that extra week much to his advantage. It was awesome what he showcased.
It was impressive. And, you know, who knows? He might just take this. That would be a bit of a plot twist, although I guess it shouldn't be because he's won world championships before. But times change. Times sometimes go back to the past. Terrible outro. We'll be right back, guys. Stay tuned.